Old money style. What exactly is it? And how do we achieve it? Well, in short, old money style that we see on the internet today is quite frankly utter nonsense. Now, before anybody gets overly upset, old money style is not a knitted polo from whatever brand, whether it's a really beautiful high quality one that's made to order in the USA, or whether it's a mass produced piece of shit from Zara. It's not a perfectly brand new Oxford button down collared shirt, whether that is mass produced in China or whether it's made in the USA from a company like the New England Shirt Company that made the original Oxford button down shirt for the Brooks Brothers. None of that is old money style. Let's dive into what old money actually is, and then we'll break down what old money style actually is and what it is not, and then we'll talk about how to achieve it. But first, all right, so those get open. More and more often, I receive a package that rivals Fort Knox in its capabilities of protecting the goods within. Let's hope the Gold Reserve and Fort Knox are slightly better protected than that. Anywho, what we have in here is, I do not know, Ettinger, I believe, are a leather company in London that have sent me a plethora of gifts to open. So this first one is this is a really beautiful leather golf scorecard holder. It comes with this lovely vintage style scorecard. So that is really lovely. So thank you for that. Also, kudos on the packaging. It's beautiful. And this here, oh, isn't that nice? This here, it goes on your belt. It'll carry 2 T's, a pitch correction tool, which has a magnetic ball marker inside there. Keep it safe. And then inside there's space for 2 golf balls. The golf ball they have provided is unbranded, other than their own branding. So anyone playing golf, you should, no matter what level you're playing golf at, you should always be using the same golf ball every round. Now, most of us are not good enough to be playing with the exact one ball for the whole round. Generally, everyone will lose one at some stage. But the same brand of ball, and the reason for that is we know what it's going to do. We know how much it's going to spin, we know how far it's going to go, and that is why you use the same golf ball. So I have no idea what these golf balls are, so I will not play around the golf with them. I will allow Corinne to play around the golf with them. But this little thing is really nice. I might stick it on my golf bag rather than my belt, and I'll put the golf ball that I normally play in there. I am testing out a new golf ball, which is not on the market yet, which is quite fun. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of old money and the topic in which we're talking about today, this company has a royal warrant. So when a company's product is frequently used by the royal family, they will be issued a royal warrant. This is kind of a seal of approval of quality that a brand will get from the royal family. So as you can see there, the ostrich plumes, this is the signet of the Prince of Wales. So depending on when they received this royal warrant, now King Charles, then Prince of Wales, may have appointed this royal warrant, or if it's more recent, then it would be William, who is the current Prince of Wales, who's issued the warrant. So there you are. Old money style doesn't exist. Kind of. Let me explain. Now, while I explain, I'm going to shave. Now, before we can get into what old money style actually is, what it's not, we need to first understand what old money actually is and why people who are not old money are constantly striving to appear like they have old money. So first, the why. Old money is people who come from generational wealth. These are families, dynasties that have had huge wealth These are families that are really, really rich and have been rich for a really long time. They're members of the country clubs all over the country. They are well known in society for being the upper class, the elites. And then there's new money. New money is your tech billionaire, your lottery winner, or essentially anybody that has accumulated wealth within a single generation. Now, what separates new money and old money is new money generally has liquid wealth. They have cash in the bank. Old money actually has very little liquid wealth. All of their wealth is tied up in property and art and land, things that they've most likely inherited. Now, due to this, new money can flash their wealth. Big, shiny, flashy, busted down, iced out watches, all designer gear, full Louis Vuitton luggage going through the airport. It's loud, it's in your face. They want people to know that they have money. Old money, on the other hand, first of all, most of them don't actually have the liquid wealth to do those things. But more importantly, they don't do those things, not just because they don't have the liquid wealth to do so, but because it's not how they were raised. It's not the etiquette that comes from having wealth. It's not the etiquette that comes from being from wealth. When you're really, really rich, you don't have to show that you're rich. As these two types of money collide, what generally happens is old money looks down their nose at new money, while new money is constantly trying to impress or be accepted by old money. Because old money is much more than just being rich. It's the principles of the lives that they live. It's buying things that work and that last, not buying them for flash, buying them for practicality. So for example, it'll be similar to having a shave. Shaving with an old school safety razor would be considered old money because it's more cost effective, it's more practical, it's better for your skin, and it's rooted in tradition, versus a multi-cartridge blade is all flash, all bells and whistles, a million blades, foam inserts, the ball head moves all around the place, but it's disposable. When you're done, you throw it in the bin or the trash. So the easiest way for new money to fit in with old money is visually, right? Because nobody knows when you accumulated your wealth. So if you can appear, or if you can look just like the people that have generational wealth, then they may assume that you also come from generational wealth. So if you drop the brash, flashy, in your face logos and iced out, busted down Rolexes and swap it for something a little bit more subtle, a little bit more toned down, a little bit more elegant, then the old money people may just think that you yourself are also old money. One of my absolute favorite stories regarding this comes from American Ivy League schools. So the elite old money students would generally have a hand-me-down shirt or jacket, most likely from a sibling, in some cases from their dad. And because they purchased with intention and quality in mind, those items were still very much wearable. But the Oxford button-down shirt, which is a staple of Ivy League style, that in particular did take a beating, particularly the cuffs and the collars. Now, what I mean by this is the cuffs and the collars began to fray and age, because the cuff and the collar is generally the part of the shirt that takes the most beating. So what did the new money students do? Well, they took sandpaper and rubbed it on the cuffs and the collars of their Oxford button-down shirts to make them look older. Because at a quick glance, the old money student may look at the new money student, see the worn out shirt and think, they're one of us. And a quick thank you to Henson Shaving for supporting not only my healthy shave, but this channel. If you head to hensonshaving.com/Damien Broderick, you can use code Damien with the purchase of any razor. You'll get 100 free blades. So improve your shave, improve your life. They should use that as a slogan. I just came up with that like literally right now. People that come from generational wealth, old money families, old money people, do not dress to appear rich. They do not dress to appear trendy. They're dressed appropriately for the environment or the activity in which they're in and or doing. For example, if they're in the city and they're just walking around shopping, they're probably just in chinos, khakis, a shirt, an Oxford button-down shirt, some knitwear, a jacket, some comfortable trainers. If they're working in the city, depending on their job, they're probably just wearing a classic navy suit, a classic charcoal suit, a white or a pale blue shirt, a coat, Oxford shoes, you know, really, really basic shit. That none of that is old money. That's just classic menswear. Like people like Paul Newman, James Dean, Steve McQueen, Marlon Brando, Humphrey Bogart, they all dressed like that. Not all of them come from generational wealth. Some of them were new money, but they just dressed in a timeless classic way that all these years later, we assume is old money. Old money style at its core is just simply classic menswear. It's just classic timeless pieces, but it's how they style those pieces and when they choose to wear them. When they're away on vacation, it's generally linen, cotton, seersucker, safari jackets. When they're walking their dogs in the countryside, it's generally bespoke tweed jackets that are 20, 30 years old, waxed cotton Barber jackets that have probably been passed down via a generation similar to the wealth that they now have. Their choice of shoes in the countryside to match that Barber jacket are just a beaten up old pair of boots or a pair of wellies because they're out walking the dog and it's wet and it's mucky and it's muddy, and the reason their clothes have the aesthetic that they do is because they're living in their clothes. They're not wearing them to appear flashy or trendy. They're wearing the clothes from a practical standpoint. It's cold and it's wet outside, so I'm going to wear a waterproof waxed jacket. It's really, really that simple. The aesthetic is built from life, not the life built from the aesthetic. In other words, it's authentic. And what's rather funny about it is what's communicated as old money on the internet, on TikTok, on Instagram, is frankly the complete opposite of what old money style actually is. It's cheap, fast fashion, beige polos and polyester high-rise pleated trousers to give this illusion of stealth wealth when in reality your life is dictated by the aesthetic, not the aesthetic dictated by your life. It's not authentic, it's inauthentic. You are attempting a very poor attempt at stealth wealth cosplay. If you want a visual, authentic example of real old money style, look no further than King Charles. The beauty in the age in which we live, King Charles spent his entire life in front of a camera. So whether he was off skiing, whether he was on safari, whether he was working in the city, whether he was at a state banquet, whether it's at a black tie gala, whether it's with family in the Scottish Highlands and Balmoral, you can find an outfit that King Charles has worn throughout his entire life that is perfectly practical for the situation that he was in. And for more casual examples of that, as I mentioned before, old Hollywood actors like Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart, just simple color palettes, clean proportions, masculine silhouettes. It's just timeless classic style, not an old money costume. You see, playing golf will not make you old money. Buying or wearing a Cartier will not make you old money. Smoking cigars, even using an expensive DuPont lighter, will not make you old money. You see, wearing a Barber jacket and driving an SUV does not make you old money the same way wearing polyester pleated trousers and a beige polo does not make you old money. So next time you hear someone utter the words old money style, you now know that they either have zero clue what they're talking about or they're trying to sell you a piece of garbage.
I'm going dumb. I'm trying to live it and stunt. Get anything that I want, whenever I want. It's okay to be broke, it's not okay to be a bum. Gotta move up, I never front. I keep it 100, hun. Do it for fun, man, I do it for fun.